everybody. This is just a short video for my entry into this year's GGBO competition. I've built this little 5-string gypsy jazz guitar, and rather than show another video of just the process of building a guitar, I thought I'd concentrate on the bits which make this a little bit different and in its own way unique. So let's get into it. In December, I was contacted by a potential customer who had seen my instruments on my Instagram page, specifically jazz or manouche style ukuleles, and she wanted me to build one, asked if I could, and so of course I said yes, because this is exactly what I like to do, to build something for a specific person. I work with them towards what sort of thing they would like, and in particular I like to be able to create something which is meaningful to them in some emotional way. So particularly normally on the decorative side, obviously, which is why I give people the freedom to put whatever they want on the headstock, for example, but also other bits of decoration, the rosette and other inlays and things like that. And the lady sent me some sketches, and the idea sort of evolved gradually, or the instrument that she wanted came to a more concrete shape. And to cap it all, I mean, this is fantastic. She actually built herself a cardboard model of the instrument to make sure that it fitted her, it suited her, and she could play it comfortably and so on. And then sent me a plan with all the measurements and everything. So this is fantastic. You know, all I have to do now is just build the thing. So you can see the plans are very detailed. So I set to work making templates and sorting out the wood I would use. And I ordered a custom tailpiece from a guy in Portugal, which the customer designed herself. And I started work on the rosette. The rosette is made up of a load of veneers, which I dyed under vacuum. I was given a pattern by the client, which I had to match, and I managed to do a reasonably good job, I think. And because the sound hole is oval, so must the rosette be, of course. And I used my new CNC machine to do this. I've done one oval rosette in the past, the old school way, but honestly the CNC did make it easier. And with this kind of rosette, there's always a gap at the top which has to be filled somehow, and traditionally there's a sort of keystone shaped piece of wood which is glued in there to cover the gap between the veneers. And this combination of ebony and olive wood became a bit of a theme through the whole guitar. One of the things I do for my customers is, if they've designed a new instrument, I allow them to name it. And so this became the first of the Kirkley guitars, and I personalise it to myself by adding a seal, an old-fashioned wax seal, which I inherited the actual seal itself from my grandmother, and it's a rose, which goes with the Garland brand quite well. Because I make instruments with a variety of scale lengths, I use a jig for cutting fret slots, which allows any scale length at all. This is an idea I got from the Totnes school where I learned guitar building. For fretboard inlays, my client wanted the crests of her mother and father's families in mother of pearl on the 5th and 12th frets. And while one crest was okay to do by hand, the father's crest was just too elaborate, at least for me. I don't think there's any way I could have produced this by hand, so I turned to the CNC machine again, and they turned out fine after a few aborted attempts. Okay, so this is just a standard bit of guitar building, but I wanted to show my great big farrier's rasp, which is a wonderful thing for getting a lot of wood off the neck in a hurry. I of course follow up with finer and finer rasps and then sandpaper and all the usual stuff. For this guitar I sprayed the neck and the body separately and let the finish cure, and then I did a sort of pre-polishing stage with a cutting compound to get the finish to a nearly final state. So here's the finish I've got at this stage, which is almost final. You can see it's a mirror gloss and I'm pretty happy with it. I will give when the instrument's glued together and everything's in its place, I'll give it another polish with a different compound. Once the whole body's finish has been got to that state and given a careful check over, the neck and body can be glued together. But there's another job to do. The bridge on this style of guitar is a kind of high arch with 2 feet, and the underside of the arch is actually hollowed out to further lighten the structure. This helps to give a fast response for the gypsy jazz style music. And here you can see me just hollowing out the underside of what will be the arch. The process for fitting the bottom of the bridge, so the feet in this case, to the curve of the guitar top is the same as for any other acoustic guitar. It's a combination of scrapers and sandpaper just to make sure the feet have a good fit to the top, which eventually they do. And up until now the bridge has been in one piece, but actually for this style of guitar the bridge is always in 3 pieces, with the central section being loose and movable, and the outside moustache pieces are glued to the top as sort of locators. This is obviously a major milestone in the construction of the guitar. It's good to see it all in one piece, but of course from now on I have to be very careful of the finish. To round off the video then, here are a few close-ups of the finished instrument. And to prove it works, there's a very brief sound demo at the end.